Hi, I'm Earl J. Wagner, and in this video I'm going to introduce Brussell, a system we've developed at Northwestern University to explain the context of news events. Brussell runs in the background on a desktop computer, downloading and reading news articles every day, so that it can explain, through a big picture view, how a news situation unfolds over time. We can see how it works by looking at an example. Suppose you're reading this blog post about an event in the news. Here they're saying that the rescue of this kidnapped BBC reporter, Alan Johnston, was staged, that it was a movie. Now that's a pretty controversial claim, so after reading this you might want to find out more. Maybe you hadn't been following this particular kidnapping situation, or even if you had, maybe you'd want to see the details of how it ended. Either way, if you want to find out more using current technology, you'd have to gather some relevant keywords and search with them, then navigate through a set of articles to figure out what's going on. Ultimately, you could get help from Brussell, which runs in the background and then integrates with the Firefox web browser through the browser extension to analyze the pages you read on demand. So when you see this mention of the rescue of Alan Johnston, because the system recognizes it as something it knows about, when you move the mouse over the text, a tooltip appears to show you that the system knows it's part of the overall kidnapping of Alan Johnston. And more importantly, the phrase it recognizes is highlighted as a button you can click on. Now at this point, suppose you'd like to find out what happened in this news situation and about the participants who are involved. Then, right-clicking on the button lets you do exactly that. You can find out more about the history of the kidnapping situation and its participants, Alan Johnston and the Army of Islam. Note that you can interact with the system in this way only because it already has expectations for what happens in a kidnapping situation, including who can be involved, the events that make up the situation, and how they're described in news articles. So looking at this, suppose you'd like to find out about what happened. Ideally, you could get a timeline that shows at the end that he was released, and then before that there was an appeal for his release, all the way back to when he was originally abducted. And when you select the first menu item, that's exactly what Brussell presents. At the very top, it identifies the situation that you're looking at, the kidnapping of Alan Johnston by the Army of Islam. And beneath that, it shows a kind of timeline, or what we call a storyline, for this situation with the milestone events and their dates. It shows how it ended and the intermediate events, all the way back to how the situation began. And clicking on any of the storyline buttons loads a news article explaining the event in more detail. So if you'd like to see the details of how the situation ended, you can by clicking on the button for the release event. This updates the view to show facts about the event, and the system also loads an article covering the event so you can read about it for yourself. You can see they have details about Alan Johnston's release, and then quotes from him, so you can see, okay, that's what happened here. If you hadn't been following this, you could also go back to the storyline view and read articles covering earlier events, and go all the way back to the beginning of the coverage of this situation, when Alan Johnston's disappearance first became news. You can also find out more about the groups and people involved. Clicking on the button for the kidnapper, the Army of Islam, loads an automatically generated view. The view is similar to a Wikipedia page and presents essential biographical facts about the group. At the top, it shows the events the group has been involved in that Brussels has tracked, and below that, information about the group, and images Brussels found while it was reading news articles about the group. In this video, we saw how Brussels helps a reader understand news by presenting the context of news events. It does so in three key ways. First, it integrates with the web browser, allowing you to ask about news events directly from text that mentions them. Second, it organizes high-level information about news situations through the storyline and participant views. And third, within these views, it supports navigation, enabling you to view details by drilling down to see original articles. You can find out more in the webpage for Brussels.